Okay, so I have a question. Is brunch a business expense? Like, is it a write off? Or is it just you living your best life with crab cake, eggs, Benedict, and bottomless mimosas? Let's break that down today because if you're a woman in business and you're not totally sure what counts as a deductible expense, this video is going to save you a lot of stress, second guessing, and maybe even a few $1,000s this year. So grab your mimosa and let's talk write offs the fun way. Hey, I'm Chika. I'm a CPA and educator, and I help women entrepreneurs feel confident about their money, their taxes, and the business they're building. Around here, we keep it practical, peaceful, and just a little bit playful. So let's get into it. All right. So, the real deal on meal deductions. So, the IRS says a meal can be deductible if it's ordinary and necessary for your business. Now, I know that sounds vague, right? But here's what it really means. If it's the kind of expense that's common in your industry, let's say you're in the graphic design business, then it supports your business activity in some legit way, then it might count. All right. So let's play this out. You're having brunch with your business bestie to brainstorm strategy. That could count, right? But let's say you're having brunch with your cousin to catch up on family drama. That's a no. It's not just about what you're eating, it's about why you're there and who you're with. So here are some examples of meals that could count as a business deduction. All right. So, first, a coaching session over coffee. That can count. A networking brunch with a potential collaborator. Oh, yeah, that's business. Even a solo CEO brunch. If you are intentionally planning, creating, or reflecting on your business during that solo brunch, right? Think about it, right? You're doing quarterly business planning and you just so happen to do it at your favorite restaurant because they allow laptops. And so of course you order brunch. So that could count because the purpose is business planning. But here's the thing, when considering whether it counts as a deduction or not, you've got to be clear about the business purpose. So if it's all about brunch vibes, that doesn't count when it comes to the IRS. All right. So here are some common mistakes. Let's talk common mistakes where people get tripped up on. First mistake is not documenting the meal. So if you don't write down who you met with, what you discussed, it's hard to justify that deduction later, right? Imagine you had brunch in March and in September, you're trying to remember, dang, who did I have brunch with? What was it for? Right? No. So make sure you write it down that day in the moment within that week, right? So that you don't forget. Even a simple note on your phone or um, putting a little note on the receipt will go a long way in helping you to remember so that you don't forget, right? So, second mistake is thinking every meal is deductible. Just because you're an entrepreneur doesn't mean that every Starbucks run is a business expense. No, cut that out. There has to be a real relevant business reason tied to the meal, right? Make sure there's a business reason behind that meal. Not just because you're hungry, you got to eat so that you can think. It has to be a true business reason that the IRS will allow. And the third mistake that I see is writing off the full amount. So when it comes to meals, the IRS will say, well, we're humans, we have to eat. And so every meal is not going to be 100% deduction. In fact, most business meals are only 50% deductible. So let's say brunch costs you $60. You would more than likely only be able to deduct $30. Now, don't panic, okay? Don't panic. I'm not here to overwhelm you with the IRS codes. All I'm doing is to help you feel more confident about what actually counts, how to track it without turning into Miss Spreadsheet Queen, okay? I'm just trying to give you the information so you have it and you can execute. So now let's uh let's talk about how do you really know if your brunch or any meal in that matter is deductible. Well, I like to use what I call the brunch test. So, with the brunch test, just ask yourself this: would I still be here at this brunch if it weren't connected to my business? If the answer is no, then that brunch might count as a business expense. But if you're at brunch just for the waffles and the selfies, then yeah, probably not, right? Probably won't count. So here's what you can do: you want to keep the receipt. So keep the receipt, and with that receipt, jot down who, what, and why. Who was the brunch with, for what reason, why, and create a simple system. So whether you use Google Sheets or maybe you're using QuickBooks app, any kind of bookkeeping app, you use a system where you're jotting down, you're using the notes or the memo section within the app where you can put down the who, what, why. And if you want a cheat sheet, I have a cheat sheet that breaks this all down step by step. All right. You can grab my free tax deduction checklist. The link is below in the description. My checklist is simple and clear and is made just for women like us who rather be sipping mimosas than stressing about write offs. If this video helped you feel a little bit more clear or a little less stressed, go ahead and hit that like button and drop a pan emoji, a little egg pan emoji in the comments if brunch is your favorite format for business meetings, okay? And don't forget to subscribe because next week we're talking about something that hits a little deeper: money shame, that guilt that creeps in when you invest in your business, and how to shift that money shame from second guessing to spending like the boss you already are. You don't want to miss it. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel, and I'll see you then. Peace.